Hey, everybody, and welcome back to On the Verge podcast. We are shooting again live tonight. This is episode number 20, Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. This has been a fun ride, and we love bringing the truth and conservative voice of Southern Oregon to all of you. And we've got some really great guests tonight, and we'll be introducing them in just a second here. I want to, real quick, just go over our sponsors real quick. Twin Peaks Off Road, of course, is one of our sponsors. That's my company. Diamond Lake Mini Storage has been responsible for the majority of our podcast so far, and Little Mill Media is the folks that shoot our podcast and produce it. They're on the other side of the cameras looking back at us. And like I always say, if you don't like my podcast, you don't like what we have to say, and you're not really that comfortable with the conservative voice, then just come down here and see Justin. Don't watch my podcast. He will make your own podcast for you. It's not that expensive, and he will get you on your way. So, but if you do like what we have to say, thanks for joining us tonight. We are shooting live tonight. We have some more guests that hopefully will be coming on here shortly, but I want to start out and just kind of introduce some of my guests that we have with us tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with our Senator David.
Thank you so much, Representative Osborne. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Fresh from Salem. Senator David Brock Smith includes Curry, Coos, Douglas counties.
Hey, thanks for joining us, David. And to my right here, I have one of our regular guests. Last week we had her daughter on here. She's from Glide. And Jeana, tell us what you do and what you're all about.
So Jeana Beam, I'm the executive director for Glide Revitalization and a bunch of other boards and groups and things that nobody really wants to hear about.
I say basically
Yeah.
you're the up and coming politician.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
hope not. Yeah.
She's the volunteer extraordinaire. Just to help our community.
She's doing some great works, and I see Ashley on the questions and comments. Good evening. I hope you're doing well too there. Next, I want to introduce our co-host and who's always with us. And tonight he is in Maui, screwing off. Tell us what you're doing over there, Trent.
I'm sitting a lot, and I've had a few happy hours and lots of food, lots of sun. I've enhanced my farmer's 10 by 10, and I truly am the whitest guy on the beach usually. So,
Well, and I understand you're also registering more Republicans that you run into from Oregon.
yeah,
While
yeah,
you're-
it was great fun. Last night we were at dinner and ran into a really good friend of mine. He was sitting right behind us, and I had walked past him. And then when I came back, I was like, "Oh, it was really, really kind of fun."
Well, that's good. Keep up the good work over there, and I hope you don't get a sunburn. Well, actually, if you do, that's okay too. And I bet you're the shortest guy on the beach. I'm just going to say that.
Actually,
You
yes
didn't know
and
what to
no.
say. I have to pick on you. You're too far away, and you're having too much fun. And of course, I am Virgil Osborne, House District 2 State Representative. I guess I didn't let Trent finish introducing himself, but Trent, what do you do?
Okay. Well, I am the chair for the Douglas County Republican Central Committee and your campaign manager, and just general Republican out there helper dude.
Well, thanks for coming on with us again. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. We got to put it all in a very short amount of time. If you haven't heard, we are rebroadcasting now, I believe, on KQEN radio, plus the 13 different channels that we have between YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us in various locations, and you can listen to the rebroadcast later. The neat thing about tonight and the last 6 or so episodes is we're going live, so you can comment, you can ask questions, you can comment. You can be nice, or you don't have to be, but I don't have to answer if you're not, but you can still ask. So I just want to kind of start out. I was going to introduce our new Republican House leader, but she's a little late to getting on. Hopefully we'll get her on here shortly. But I think I'll start out with Senator Brock Smith. That you and I both know we just came off legislative days. This last week's been a little bit crazy, David, and I'd like to get your take on where we are, and also the Senate just voted on the transportation tax bill, and I know that the rest of the world is not happy. And tell us what your read is on it, David, and what's the Senate thinking right now?
Thank you so much, Virgil. So yeah, Governor called a special session on the 29th. Unfortunately, she couldn't count. Or fortunately, we all came in on the 29th, but we had a colleague that was ill in the Senate. And when we came back on Monday for legislative days, I'm glad he's feeling better. They did wheel him in to
Saw
provide
the pictures of the wheelchair.
his vote. And of course, you've talked about what the legislation does. It increases the gas tax to 46 cents a gallon. It doubles the payroll tax from 0.1 to 0.2 that funds public transit, and increases fees across the board with regards to title registration and so forth. We were hopeful that the delay would pressure Senator Meek, for example, to vote no. He gave a floor speech about tolling, saying he would never vote for any tolling. And only did the tolling is still alive and well. And Leader Starr, of course, talked about that in his speech after Senator Meek, that this bill did nothing to take away tolling. And his comments were basically just for show for his constituents back home. We now have our good colleague, Representative Deal,
Yeah.
Senate Republican leader Bruce Starr, and Jason Williams from Taxpayers Association are filing a referendum to allow for the residents of Oregon to vote on this tax hike.
So I want to stop you there for a second. So I had a question earlier today from Brett Parrott. He's one of our constituents here. Actually, I believe he's probably one of Corp Voice's constituents, but he's a friend of mine, has been for years.
Yeah.
It would be one of yours as well, constituent. And he was very upset, and not just him, but multiple people were very upset because they feel like a tax bill of this size should be voted on by the people. It should never be able to be passed just by the legislature.
Yep.
And he was asking for an explanation. So I promised him tonight that would be the first. Well, I didn't promise him the first question, but that is the first question. And I mean, I think we all understand, how this thing works. But explain, if you would, David, especially being in the Senate, explain how the referendum works and how many votes it took to get it where we are, and roughly what it takes to get the ballot or the referendum on the ballot. If you
Okay.
would. Thanks.
Well, I'm happy to, but to try to answer the question as well. Elections have consequences, and it's one of the reasons why we can never allow the Democrats to have a supermajority in the legislature, because they don't need any Republican votes to pass any taxes. There's 60 state representatives. If they have 36, they can do whatever they want in the House. There's 30 state senators. If they have 18, they can do whatever they want in the Senate. So that's where we went wrong in 2024. And it's ridiculous when Republicans are attacking Republicans and we're wasting resources
Yeah.
that could help fund other races for these reasons. And I mean, we had a pretty hard session. But you and I both know, Virgil, that we stopped a lot of bad bills.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
It could have been much, much worse. So the referendum, the referendum is a situation where
Yeah.
we needed, it's roughly 78,000 signatures. Hi, Lucetta.
Hi.
Or excuse me, Madam Leader. I apologize.
Hey, better late than never.
Right.
David, let me interrupt you for just a second, David. Lucetta, do we have you for 10 minutes or so? Or
You do. Sorry for being tardy. I'm failing on day one.
Oh my goodness.
hey, it's okay. I just got back from Salem today myself. It's been crazy, and I know your days have been even more jam-packed full of stuff than mine. So I want to introduce everybody to our last guest of today, and that is Lucetta. Last but not least, Lucetta Elmer. Lucetta is our new Republican House Minority Leader. So tell us real quick a little bit about you, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. State Representative Lucetta Elmer, now, yes, leader of House Republican office. And let's see, I reside in District 24. So I am Yamhill County up in the Willamette Valley. And I am a mom of 4, a private business owner, entrepreneur, and this is my second session serving in the House. I vice chair the Labor Committee, and I am on the Early Childhood and Human Services Committee for a bit, and Rules, Ways and Means, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, well, and you're on some of those fun labor committees that I was on with you last term, and you kind of got stuck with the bad ones, and I got onto some of the better ones. So I I feel a little bit sorry for you, but being in the minority party is a tough pull sometimes, and you're the right person for the job, and I appreciate the fact that you are now our new leader. So
Thank
uh, yeah, lots of sleepless nights and long
Or-
long days.
I will say, Virgil, Leader Elmer and I, we go back and forth because I believe the Umpqua Valley has some of the best and finest wines in the state.
Right, right. But
He represents McNindo, and that
Right.
way, right?
so I love that that's what you believe, but factually speaking, I am in Pinot Noir paradise.
Oh,
Well, I'm happy for both of you, but I have the most beautiful district in the state. So, even though David has half of it, that's fine.
it's cruise. You're not wrong, but the rest of it's pretty gorgeous as well. So
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. Oregon is beautiful.
Yeah. So last night we had our elections, and I want to bring this to the public's attention. I think it's really cool. Maybe not the first time in history, but certainly one of the few times in history that Douglas County, and actually this Senate district as well, has 3 of the 6 leadership positions in the state tied up between myself, Alex Carlatos, which is now deputy, and David, who is the deputy leader of the Senate. So. Sorry, Lucetta, you're not in Douglas County, but that's okay. You're closer to the source up there. We love you anyway.
Yes, and I will say that right now, both leaders from the Senate and the House both reside in the same district. So my senator or leader star is my senator. So
I did not know that.
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fantastic. It's awesome, and just like I just have to add, Leader Elmer, I'm really happy for that. We saw, of course, Leader Bonham and his working in tandem with Leader Drazen. Of course, Leader Drazen was in Leader Bonham's Senate district as well. So
Right.
I'm really excited for that, and how it's going to move forward. So
Yeah.
So I want to get on to some questions because I have a lot of people blowing up the phone right now. I'm sure you guys can see them, but people are concerned, and David started to talk about this. So if you want to go ahead and finish, David, maybe Lucetta, if you want to chime in,
Sure.
people want to know what's next on the referendum front, and I think I saw a question on here about has the governor signed the bill yet? That's an easy answer, but go ahead, David.
thank you. Just real quick. So Senate Republican Leader Starr, Representative Ed Deal, Jason Williams from the Taxpayers Association are filing a referendum. There's 90 days from sine die to gather the signatures, so that's 90 days from yesterday. The governor has 30 days to sign the bill, and as of this afternoon, the bill is still sitting on the speaker's desk to be signed. And so, unfortunately, as the governor ramrodded without any negotiations whatsoever this piece of legislation into and she basically wielded her iron fist as she did with her Democrats when she was Speaker of the House. She did it in both chambers to get them to pass it. Now she's using the Speaker is complicit in delaying the signing of the bill. And I wouldn't be surprised if Leader Elmer and Leader Starr don't have maybe a press release in the coming days that might come down and hammer those delay tactics a little bit, because it's ridiculous that they're playing politics, knowing that we have the referendum moving forward again with Leader Starr, Representative Deal, and Jason Williams to collect those signatures. There is already a website, thanks to you and Ed Deal and Freedom Coalition, that is notaxor.com.
Yep.
And you can go there and you can you can sign up for updates. You can give them your address to where we can send petitions. And you can also donate because all the resources necessary to get this done are going to be necessary. So that's pretty much it. We need 78,000 signatures. We'll probably get, I think it's 78. We probably get, well, it's 4%. We'll probably go after 6%. And we will, so a little over 100 is the goal. And we got a short time to do it.
Lucetta, I know we only have you for a short time, but if you'd like to chime in on that, please do.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting the way that she's playing this out. It's going to put us, gathering signatures right smack dab in the middle of the holidays. That's tough, but I think that it's very doable. I mean, Oregon has been loud and clear that they do not want this. So, however way it gets played out, we know what our part in this is, and we need to just get it done.
Yeah.
Well-
I think Virgil, I think the holidays have an opportunity, right? Because families come together,
Oh, I think so.
need those signature sheets, and everybody sign it.
Well, I also think that, as we hear, so we have a lot of things going on right now. I think you have a lot of grassroots organizations that want to get this thing rolling. They're not necessarily familiar with working with the caucus leadership to make things happen, as a joint effort. And I think we need to make sure that a joint effort happens. We don't need to have 2 or 3 different petitions out there. We need to have one, and we need to all stand behind it. And I think that the No Tax Oregon or notaxor.com is a great site that helps to unify that and gets everybody pointed in the right direction. Now, once we're off and running, and we can't do that until she signs the bill. And I don't know exactly if it's the day after that or what the timeline is between the time she signs it and the time we can actually start collecting signatures. Do you know the answer to that, David?
I believe in, so once she signs it, we can get submit for clearance, if I remember correctly. So it'll be within a day or two of her signature that the signature sheets will then be alive and able to be circulated.
Yeah.
And maybe you guys already talked about this, but I also think it's very interesting that, she extended the time period for the employees to be laid off until it's October 16th, right?
15. Yep.
15th. Okay. So, I mean, if she goes past that, that's bad news.
Where's the emergency?
Right.
Where's the
Yeah.
emergency?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I honestly think that our governor has pulled a fast one on our state, and she knew what she was doing. But I also feel like the Democrats are kind of sitting back, going, "Well, here you go. Let's see if you guys can get it recalled." And I think that it's our task as Republicans. We need to make sure that happens. And by God, if we get that on the ballot, people are going to turn out the vote, and we need that. We need people to turn out to vote. And I realize the whole, some people don't think their vote counts. This time, your vote counts, and so does your signature. In fact, your signature counts more than your vote counts right now.
Well, and that's what they don't want, right?
Yeah.
Colleagues, they don't want us to get Republicans out to vote, but B, there are a lot of, this is not a partisan issue.
No.
There are a lot of angry Democrat suburban moms in Portland and in and around your district too, Leader Elmer, where they're mad. They're tired of paying. And so when they're voting, when they're beelining to that to vote no on this gas tax increase on their ballot, that could trend across the ballot because they're going to vote against the very Democrats that voted for it in the first place.
Yeah. So I'm seeing comments pop up about there's already a petition available. There is not a petition available in a referendum petition available right now, and it will not be available until after she signs the bill. So and it won't be available to sign online. It will have to be collected just like every other signature a referendum is collected. So stand by. Next week we'll have Representative Deal on here as well, so he'll even have more instructions. And this thing is happening, but we have to work together on this. It's so important that we don't lose track and lose sight of where we're at. Lucetta, we're going to cut to a break, and I know you're on a kind of a tight time crunch tonight, and our next topic is going to be the budget, and that's going to be a long one. So I don't want to intrude on your schedule, but thank you for joining us. And is there anything you'd like to say before you leave?
Just thanks for having me. I look forward to coming back. I'm sorry that I had to cut it short. And day one has been a day. I mean, this is not for the faint of heart. I'm running and I
You
have
are
one more event to get to,
Yeah.
and 55 plus, texts, but I'll get it done. The day's not over yet. So thank you guys for having me. Carry on. Good conversation. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for coming on. Take care.
Thanks
Well,
for
folks,
stepping off.
yeah, folks, we're going to cut to about a 60-second break here to acknowledge our sponsors, and we will be right back. Please stay with us because you're not going to want to miss the next topic. This was something we talked about last night. David and I were in the caucus meeting, and it's the state's in some trouble right now. So disconnect. Yeah, you think the taxes are bad? Wait till you hear what we have to talk about. So anyway, stay with us. We'll be right back in 60 seconds. I want to thank one of our sponsors of this show, Diamond Lake Mini Storage. If you need a little extra space, I will always recommend Diamond Lake Mini Storage. They have 45 brand new units ranging from 50 to 250 square feet with a safe and secure and clean facility. But they're more than just a storage business. They proudly support our local community through 4-H, UAC, Meals on Wheels, and other great programs that make Roseburg stronger. Ask about their move-in specials and visit them on roseburgforrent.com. That's roseburgforrent.com. Storage with heart right here at home.
Is your 4x4 ready for the trail? Twin Peaks Off-Road is your first stop for maintenance, repairs, and custom upgrades. From differential services to winch installs, we do it all. Fast, reliable, and built for adventure. Don't wait for breakdowns in the backcountry. Call Twin Peaks Off-Road today at 541-900-0015 or visit twinpeaksoffroad.net. Keep your 4x4 off the roads and in the adventure.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for staying with us. And we have a lot more to talk about tonight. I'm your state representative, Virgil Osborne, here with On the Verge. This is my podcast. And we have, let's see, we have Senator David Brock Smith with us tonight, and Trent Drake, who are our Republican party chair. And we have Jeana Beam with Live Revitalization on here as well with us tonight. So I want to touch base on a topic that Senator Brock Smith and I both got set through the briefing yesterday. And David, I don't mean to keep sticking you with all the speaking part, but I know you're good at it. But so, and I'll just summarize real quick. We had a brief summary of where the state is budget wise, and I knew the state wasn't in great shape anyway. But in June, I think it was when we got our last update on the budget, we were not horrible. We were in decent shape. I don't think we weren't in the red, so to speak, or at least we were right on the edge of being in the red. With President Trump's big beautiful bill, some things have changed, and that now officially, according to state projections and job losses and what have you, that is going to put us in a whole other pickle. I am sorry. I sit right here and said I was going to talk about the increase in gas prices, and let's touch that first, and then we'll go on to the budget. But the questions that are coming are, why is the price of gas higher now? Why does it keep going up? Trent and or David, fire away.
So there was a pipeline issue in Washington that caused the lack of flow. Essentially, we have to understand on the West Coast, when you have the environmental for-profit nonprofits that continue to restrict the ability for emissions and so forth in California and Washington, those are where our refineries are. And so when that happens, you're restricting the flow. But then Trent also has some info on that as well.
Yeah, and what we were talking on the break, we had a spike in oil prices late in August, almost over $5 a barrel. Now, fortunately, it has dropped $10 a barrel, so we should see some easing to that. That it seemed, ironically, those things all happened at the same time.
And it always happened during the holidays, the summer holidays, when people are trying to travel. Amazing how that works.
Right.
Well, and then they're switching over from summer fuel to winter fuel,
Correct.
which then should also help once that gets into the pipeline.
Yep. Hopefully that helps answer some of those questions. Now let's go back to the revenue forecast real quick. Again, it's not promising, and it doesn't look good for about the next 6 years is when things start to come back to even. David, go ahead and give me a little bit of a summary of what you think your thoughts are on that.
Well, budgets are priorities, right? And again, heavy is the crown when you are in the the super majority, and they control every aspect of the legislative process, including those budgets. And with those budgets being priorities, you have a situation where we're spending over $700 million on healthcare for illegal aliens in Oregon.
Yeah.
And so when forgive me for going on this small tangent, Virgil, but when we have our U.S. senators saying that we don't that what they want to do and why there's a government shutdown in D.C. right now is not going to fund illegal healthcare, that's BS, because it is through the states. And so that said, it was fantastic. Really appreciate our leadership team and Co-Chair Lieber of Ways and Means meeting with us, along with Legislative Fiscal Office and Legislative Revenue Office, both the House and the Senate caucuses, to kind of give us a snapshot of what HR 1, the Congressional Big Beautiful Bill, did. Now, states have the opportunity, which we normally always do, to stay connected with the federal tax code. And if we stay connected with today's projection, right, in this snapshot in time, it was actually at the revenue forecast a few weeks ago, we're looking at being down $888 million in revenue. And the reason is because of the no tax on tips, of the no tax on overtime, of the allowing to deduct your interest off of your car loan, right?
So let me make sure I have this straight, and we have and everybody understands where we're coming. The no tax on tips, that money that is normally taxed on those tips and also the overtime, is money that goes into the Oregon government coffers, basically. And by staying with the federal plan, that money goes away.
Well, no. Well, yes.
Yeah. So the state wouldn't get that money.
That is correct. You get to keep it in your pocket.
Right.
Can you imagine that? I mean, there's a number of fantastic opportunities for small business. I mean, the whole HR 1 was meant to drive small businesses and create jobs and so forth, because they were able to depreciate. But when it comes to the tax on tips, for example, if we stay connected, which we want to do, to give
conservative people like us, of course, we want to give our constituents the best chance of being able to be profitable.
Well, yes, and be able to have more spending income to spend on their children, on their families, for maybe, anyway, on their lifestyle and livelihoods. And it's ridiculous. So but imagine if we did disconnect, right? And you're filing your taxes. So now you have a tax code that you got to follow at the federal level, and then a tax code that you have to follow at the state level. And what a nightmare, and how expensive that would be. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that can happen. We can disconnect with a not even just a regular majority vote. 31 votes gets a disconnect through, right?
The disconnect is just the majority, 31-16, and I'm very concerned about that, because that would allow 5 of their swings
to sit it out.
To sit it out and vote no, pound their hand on the I don't agree with this, and so they can save their rears and campaigns.
I mean, what it comes down to is, and I hear all the whining and the moaning about voting. The fact of the matter is, elections have consequences. And we have a governor and we have a majority party right now in office that does not have the best interests in mind of the majority of the people in the state. Right. They are concerned about, I don't know what it is. People call it power. I don't think it's power. I think just the way of thinking is completely 180 degrees opposite of the way I think and the way the conservative people think. So if you get nothing out of this message tonight other than just go take your ballot, fill it out, and mail it in, please do that. And while you're at it, talk to 10 of your friends and tell them to put their ballot in the mail too. Unless they're Democrats, tell them to wait till the day after the election to send it in. But otherwise, please mail your ballots in. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, the disconnect. So all the listeners need to remember the word disconnect, because that is what is going to happen. I'm here. It's October 2nd. It's your 20th show.
Yeah.
And I personally believe that Governor Kotek is going to call another special session prior to the February legislative session so that the disconnect can happen further away from campaigns next year. Because they just passed this, 4 billion plus tax increase, largest tax increase on Oregonians. And now they're looking at loss of revenue because they're going to talk about how it's a loss of revenue. And that's why you see all of this happening back in DC and the Democrats wanting, saying it's the Republicans' fault. It's because they literally want to add $1.3 trillion to the big, beautiful bill to then come in and backfill a lot of these programs and so forth for these states. It's not going to fix our 888, right? Because it's different colors of money, right? When it comes to buckets and budgets. But they want to come in and backfill public broadcasting, Planned Parenthood, funding illegal alien medical costs. But we need to remember disconnect, and we will be fighting like heck to make sure that doesn't happen.
Definitely something to be talking about. Your voice is coming through muffled. Are you catching that too on this? Yeah, I don't know if it's your internet, David, or what. Trent, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I hear everybody.
No,
It's great.
I think it's us. You're both coming through like you sound like you're from outer space. So
I can hear you and Trent. Okay.
yeah.
The other thing, Virgil, is the other budget. I mean, we keep on losing employers, businesses keep on shutting down. We're in a serious hurt. So that revenue, I mean, we're looking at 888 if we stay connected, but those revenues in taxes coming into Oregon are going to continue to decline because of the supermajority Democrat policies and the fact that we're, in the bottom tier in education. We can't draw businesses and industry. There's no incentive programs. We can't draw business and industry. We're in the bottom tier of business friendliness in this state. And unless we turn this around, we're going to continue to bleed, if you will, not only Oregonians, but the businesses that employ them.
Yeah, it's concerning. And I think the number was 11,000 jobs that we've shed here just in the last year. And that's concerning because the number one source of revenue coming into our state budget is payroll tax. So if we don't have jobs and we don't have business, we don't have payroll tax. So my fear is that the Democrats, and again, heavy is the crown, right? I mean, they've got to keep the state open. They have to have the money. And they're going to try to find it somewhere else. Now, interestingly enough, we also heard last night that Governor Kotek has called for a 5% reduction in all state agencies across the board. 5% does not even hurt. It should be 10. If I was governor for the day, we would start at 10, and then when I started hearing the whining, we may go to 15. But we're spending a lot of money on programs that are just well, for instance, in the legislative days last week, we had a committee hearing with Travel Oregon, and I posted some of what I said, but I'm sitting here listening to these folks talk about they want more money in their budget from the travel tourism tax, and when we started going through their budget, $186,000 per person with their 75 member crew was on average, but some of the people are making over $400,000 a year. Now that's coming right out of the tax base. And so, they kind of tried to dodge that question, but the next line item was the goods and services and product, whatever, for those employees. And that was $38 million. So, I mean, he was trying to say how great of a deal it is. And I'm going, wait a second. It all counts. I mean, it was $66 million they're spending on frivolous spending on people that I don't even understand it.
And it kind of makes you put your $36,000 a year salary in perspective, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, people think legislators are rich. There may be some rich legislators, but I'm not one of them. So, and I haven't found out a way to do that yet. So,
But no, you're right, and it's different. But again, color of money, though,
yeah.
you know, I mean, but you could legislative direct those dollars into, you can direct them to state parks to assist that when it comes to fees and taxes. You can direct them legislatively into fish conservation efforts and habitat restoration through ODF and W to lessen the impact of a reduction in ODF and W. There are opportunities that you can kind of do a shade of the color of money within those buckets.
Oh yeah.
But let everyone be known, as you know, Representative, the Democrats, when it came to this huge gas tax, we had opportunity. We gave them a proposal that would have given the governor the opportunity to use legislatively the dollars within their budget. $29 million for DEI programs within. They don't need that this biennium. They aren't hiring any new employees. They've already had the training last biennium. So let's forego that this biennium. But I'm here to tell you, it's going to put a heck of a lot more pressure on us in 2026 in the short session because they're going to come for more revenue. I don't know how they're going to do it yet, but they're going to want to raise taxes in multiple ways for multiple things.
Well, they'll have to. I mean, they won't have an option. I mean, that's the thing. I think people don't realize we're sliding down this slippery slope, losing jobs, hemorrhaging businesses, and the state can't close. We have to, those services that we have that we've already committed to doing have to continue. So that money has to come from somewhere. And you're right. Instead of taking it from a business standpoint of view and making cutbacks on things that are frivolous, for instance, DEI spending at ODOT for $29 million. There's no reason in the world. $29 million, and I forget how many jobs that was. I did the math on it. It was a lot of jobs, a couple hundred jobs, I think.
Yep.
Why? I mean, the answer is you have an ideology, a governor that has an ideology that is just absolutely, that does not give a crap about, especially rural Oregon, but in general, the general population of Oregon. She only has concerns, and not just her. It's the legislature, right? I mean, she's the one that signs the bills, but we're the ones that get them through. And they don't care. They have an agenda, and until we get past that, until we can turn this thing around, God help us, but hopefully we can get a Republican governor. So at least we have some veto power, or we get to pick up a few more seats in the House and the Senate so we can stop some of these crazy taxes. Your vote counts, people. Just say it again. Your vote counts.
It does indeed. And I think we have great opportunities to have the pendulum swing back in the 2026 session. But when it comes to as we move forward and we look at the budget and the budget shortfalls because of the, again, Democrat supermajority policies over decade, right?
Yep.
I mean, Tina Kotek was the Speaker of the House for nearly a decade before she was the governor, right? Or no, she was for a decade before she was the governor. It was her policies that have been leading up to this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we are going to need to, as we did with the ODOT budget, we are going to need to come up with our own set of cuts so that we have, former Representative Mark Johnson told me when I first came in the building, David, you are much more successful rather than just saying no. You have to come up with your own solution, right? And so it is critically important that we, again, have a Republican solution that we can point to, that we can let the public point to or view and say, listen, this is the Republican plan, because I want to make sure we have funding for public safety, right? I want to make sure that we have funding for healthcare for Oregonians that need it, right? Not the 25-year-old that's playing video games sitting down in mom and dad's basement, right? That is able-bodied to work, because all HR1 is doing is saying you can still get Medicaid, but you got to work 20 hours a week or volunteer. That's all you need to do in order to get your health care. And they're like, oh no, that's too much. Well, we all know that's yes. But I just want to, and we need to make sure that our CASAs are funded. We need to make sure that our child advocacy centers are funded and victims assistance are funded. I mean, all of these things, we need to go back to our core mission of services for our state. And start there, and all of this DEI stuff, all of this stuff that is coming down the pipe, all of the new programs that is all, all
Climate protection programs.
Exactly.
Another waste of money.
Yep.
Imagine if we took the money we waste on climate protection and the money we waste on DEI, we put it into mental health care. Maybe our homeless problem would actually, we'd have some progress, there. We have a horrible homeless issue, and we as a state, and of course, Republicans get blamed for a lot of this. I mean, we get blamed for our inaction, but the reality of it is we're the minority party. We can support the heck out of spending millions and millions of dollars, but if that money doesn't go where it needs to go, that doesn't really matter. Money ends up in somebody's special project that doesn't help us down here.
Well, no, and you have a situation where, and we come up with solutions in different ways, right, Representative? I mean, I get praised or criticized for drafting more legislation than most, but I mean, one of the issues when I help lead the effort to stop to repeal and reform Measure 110, right, and give. But one of the things that I wasn't able to get quite done was those treatment dollars, which are cannabis tax dollars, need to come to the counties and let the counties create the MOUs and the contracts with the service providers, so there's accountability. And there's accountability not only at the local level, but those county commissioners know their communities best. And then 15% of that would then also help with admin services at the county and public safety and the program itself. It's a win-win. What did we see? A news report month and a half ago, Multnomah the treatment center up in Multnomah County.
Yeah.
3.2 million, I think it was.
Yeah.
And
For one person.
One person.
Yeah.
No accountability.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of it. I mean, we're sitting here talking about all of what's wrong. And I wish that I could tell you, people, and I hear it, people are like, well, you guys always talk about all the bad. Why don't you talk about solutions? Well, we do talk about solutions and we present solutions, but we are not the majority party in the state. And until the majority party gets hurt bad enough that they have to start listening to us, that hopefully will be the time when the tide changes and they start paying attention and we start doing some things. And I don't know what it's going to take to get there, but I don't want to. Jeana's joined us tonight, and I know we've only got about 15 minutes left, and I don't want to forget her. She's sitting here looking happy and smiling, but she's got some stuff to say, I know, and some of this is Senator, you probably have been involved in as well. But
she's a good PCP.
Yeah. I want to switch topics for just a minute. As you know, and back in March, Douglas County got hit with a huge flood. Right, we had a couple of days of horrible rainstorms. Jeana's job with Glide Revitalization is they are the organization that the money coming in to help flood relief is funneled through her organization. No matter where you are in the county, it gets funneled through that. And so she works alongside our county commissioners and alongside myself and Senator Brock Smith to make sure that money goes where it needs to go, make sure that money flow comes in. I was initially involved on that Sunday when the flood hit. I actually contacted the governor's office myself direct. I know Senator Brock Smith has been involved as well. And then we've also subsequently sent letters to the Trump administration to try to get some money flowing back into the county. Jeana, why don't you give us an update where we're at right now?
So right now we have the initial assessment done by the FEMA was over 600 affected households. So to date, we've been able to get funding out to a little over 60 out of that 600. Now we know that some of those are not going to have needs or they've already taken care of it themselves because kind of what we do in Douglas County, right? We take care of things ourselves if we can. But with that, the funding's already running out. So there's only certain things that qualify for funding as it's run through a state program. And as the requests come in, we have to collect a bunch of information and then attempt to get funding out. And we're already getting to the end of that chunk of funding. This was kind of a unique situation in that we were, the initial pot of funding was not just for our county. Harney County is even in a more dire situation than we are because they did not have an organization in place like ours. They are still trying to get all that up and running. They're doing an amazing job, but we had a hell of a practice run with Archie Fire. We've already got kind of that framework and know what to do and how to do it. And so we've been very effective at getting funding out the door. I intended to have the exact number here in front of me, but as always, I forgot.
Got a
So.
few things to do.
Yeah.
Good.
But since June, when we were given access to the funding, we pushed out over 800,000, um, which is huge. We've had some very dire cases, including a landslide that was about to push a home off of the edge of a cliff. We've been able to get them funding to shore that up, different things like that. Provide a lot of assistance for culverts and driveways. The county has helped with providing additional funding that we can get out the door. But again, we have reached kind of that tail end of that funding and are getting ready to put forth another request. Working with everybody on here, plus the commissioners and forum, to try to elevate this need and see if we can't get a little bit more funding to help close out the people that are still in that recovery process and haven't even started the work.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say, Representative and Jeana and the commissioners, I mean, because my understanding was the initial funding from FEMA coming in was not for private individuals, right? And so it was your efforts, the fact that you had the organization, Jeana, and your leadership at Glide Revitalization kind of paved the way and opened up the door for this funding to be used for homeowners, because the initial letter, if I remember correctly, was only for government. And so I'm grateful, Representative, and grateful to you, Jeana, and the commissioners, so that there was some flexibility with that, and it wouldn't have happened without your efforts for those residents that were impacted. So thank you so much.
Well, and I think those are the things that happen in the background that people, we're not obviously, Senator, you and I, we're not out there doing this job because we want recognition for it. We're doing this job for the people that we represent, and same thing with Jeana. But I think those are the things that happen in the background that we don't talk about. And also, I'm just going to say it and unabashedly say it. Our commissioners, they rock. I mean, as much crap as they get, people, and that's fine. I mean, everybody has a political view or whatever. But the fact is, without those commissioners, especially Commissioner Freeman, as hard as he pushed on not just the state government, and he did, but also the federal government,
Yep.
we would have got nowhere. And that's what you want out there. You want somebody out front. Jeana's got the softer, kinder, gentler voice that people like. She's mean behind the scenes. And of course, I don't know where I'm at. I'm somewhere in the middle. I sometimes I run my mouth a little hard, but sometimes I just get mad. It's like help my people. I don't care about anywhere else. I want my people helped. And of course, Commissioner Freeman and Boyce and Crest, they're all the same way. I mean, they legitimately, when we were in the middle of that flood, there are so many stories that were going on that we know because we've talked about it, that the commissioners were involved in. Some of it as simple as what was going on at Galesville Dam. We almost lost that dam, and the public doesn't have any idea the amount of that night that the commissioner was particularly one of them. I don't think slept all night because they were monitoring the flow on that dam and making sure that we didn't flood out everybody below it, but yet we kept the dam from the water going over the top, which would have taken out the dam. And I mean, all of those times, I mean, it's a community effort and it's led by community leaders that do a really good job. So I, for one, want to thank them and thank you, Jeana, as well. And of course, David and myself, we do the work too, but it's what we do. Trent,
Go team.
yeah, go team. I'm not purposely leaving you out, Trent, but you're in Hawaii, so I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just a little envious, but anyway, Jeana, did you have more?
No, I mean,
I want to glide. I want an update, because you have been just rocking it up there. You had to move. You got the daycare going, and so I want to learn what's going on up there. It's just been, I mean, you provide so much for that community. It's incredible.
yeah, so we were lucky to have a space in school property for 5 years, and the lease expired October 1st. And it was a big juggling act because our new building is not ready. I don't have to tell any more about the state of our economy and funding and federal processes and being in a blue state right now. So it's not been pretty. We have had a lot of funding that was secured, organizations that had promised it to us and was secured there's a lot of repercussions right now because of our political climate in our state, and the national politics. So with that, we were delayed in actually starting construction, which meant we were looking at losing the ability to continue childcare uninterrupted at our center. Um, we came right down to the wire. It was amazing. A local organization stood up, North Umpqua Bible Fellowship, and offered to allow us space in their building. So we were able to move the childcare over there, but that's a big undertaking too. So normally it takes 45 days plus to get even an address change for your licensing. And our staff, we have a very small staff, but they were absolutely amazing. The community, everyone pulled together, and we got this done in 14 days, which
That's amazing.
is unheard of. I gotta hand it to our fire marshals, our health inspectors, everybody at the county. It wasn't without a lot of people coming together and making this happen. We officially opened the doors a day ahead of the lease closing at the new location. And we already have, I think, 2 or 3 kids that were on a waiting list that are coming in next week to get added to the class.
amazing.
So it was amazing.
And so how many kids are you serving?
Oh, so we had 17, I believe, on our list, and then we're adding 2 more. We have potential to go up to 24, but we will probably never do 24 kids. We're trying to balance. We think that's too many. So it would be 12 per room. We'd like to keep it closer to 10 at one time, never having more than 10 in the room because it just becomes a lot for the teachers. And we feel like the quality of care, the more kids you have in a classroom, just like we see in public education, the harder it is to manage and structure. So
You know what I find amazing too is like you do all this stuff, which is amazing, and then I can text you at 3:30 in the morning, and you'll generally respond by 4, because I never sleep. I mean, my brain works all night, and I can text you at midnight, and you'll respond right away. So that tells me a lot about what you do. But also, a lot of people don't know that Gina's an EMT, right? Works on the ambulance, and it's like which is kind of cool because it's like, if I break my leg, as long as it's not broken completely off, she'll tell me to get a Band-Aid.
I will. I'll tell you to suck it up and drive yourself.
Yeah, she will.
Here's what important.
No sympathy, but yeah, you're just doing some amazing work, and the community of Glide is they're you're an asset to them, and I'm glad that they have you, and of course, they're in obviously myself and Senator Brock Smith's district as well. We're going to do everything we can for all of our communities, but Glide got hit really hard with the Archer Creek fire, and they've come bouncing back like a community that's exactly how they should, and a lot of that has to do with you and your efforts. So thank you so much for what you do. But I got to give Trent a couple minutes here. He's been awfully quiet, and I think he's probably drinking Mai Tais, and he's just not telling us. But Trent,
No, I'm holding back for just a little bit longer. I'm just sitting here. We're at 20 episodes, and I'm just looking at all these great people that are on here tonight: Gary, Alan, Troy, Lisa, Annette, Bob, all these people that have been supporting us. I want to say thank you to all you guys. You are helping us expand and get the word. What was the metric last week that we had on views?
we had over 463,000 views over the 14-day period.
Can you believe that? 463,000 views.
Yeah.
To 2 guys that just had the Virgil goes, "Hey, I want to do a podcast." And I said, "Hey, I think I know the guys that can do that." And, it was like sitting having beer and pizza. It's like, "Virgil, you should run for an office." And Virgil goes, "Oh, okay. How about this one?" Okay. But what's awesome is because of all of you, we're going to get this word out.
Yeah.
And we're going to help these guys. We're going to help Senator Smith and all these Senator Elmer. This is the second time we've got to talk to her, right, Virgil?
Yeah.
What an amazing person.
Well, the nice thing about this podcast too, Trent, is that between myself and Senator Brock Smith, any representative or senator that you want to have on the show, we have access to all of them, right? I mean, in most cases, they're happy to come on. I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to come on. But the intent of the show, and it will continue to be this way, is to get the truth out and how government really works. And there's so much going on behind the scenes, not just on our side, the government wise, but also just people don't understand, and people have misconceptions of how things roll. And they have the opportunity now, at least for an hour a week, to come on this show, and they can ask those questions, they can make those comments, and then of course we're both, myself and Brock Smith, and we're all available. I mean, if you need to call us, email us, text us, however, yell at us, whatever you want to do, just don't shoot at us. We're always available. And I wasn't put in, I was put in this position to serve the people that I serve. And I love what I do. This isn't about the money. This isn't about the ego. This is about the simple fact that I love where I live. I love the people that I represent, and I want to make sure that they're heard. And I can tell you this, and same thing with David, you are heard in that house. That doesn't mean we always win every battle, but I guarantee you at the end of this week, there were some people that had some burnt tail feathers because I was riding their butts pretty hard about tax dollars being spent frivolously. And I'm not going to stop. So, yeah, Trent, I'll give you some closing thoughts here. We got about 4 minutes before we have to cut off. So, Trent, give me your closing thoughts, and then we'll go to you, David.
Oh, well, I want to thank David for coming on. I just love the points that you and Virgil put on the table for the people to hear, but also to everybody out there. Vote. David said it over and over. Virgil said, call 10 friends. I'm just sitting here working on my head about get out to work part or get out the vote party. Having something where we get together maybe once or twice a month and celebrate getting out the vote. As Virgil knows, I'm extremely competitive and I hate to lose. Matter of fact, I would rather, get whooped up pretty bad than lose. So I'm always looking for people, and I've had people reach out to us. You want to get involved with us? Reach out to me. Be glad to get you involved locally here in Douglas County.
Thanks, Trent. David, you got some closing thoughts?
Yeah, real quick, with this budget crisis, we knew we were going to get into a budget crisis, right? Virgil, and I just want to thank you and our team for, again, what we did in securing that $35 million for the Veterans Home in Roseburg. And it's a full court press in the next budget bill that might happen either this fall or next spring in Congress. We are on the list of tier 1. ODBA has done a masterful job. Commissioner Freeman, Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Kress, we've all, just done a masterful job to have that thing shovel ready. So we have secured that money until December of 2026 in the legislation that we passed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, as you can imagine. It was, we need to make sure that we have a full court press in Congress to the next budget bill that comes out of Congress funds those 80 tier 1 veterans homes across the country, which includes Roseburg.
Amen to that, brother. Okay, Jeana, any closing comments?
No, just thank you guys for everything you're doing and for having me on tonight. And same thing, you guys, that I really love the community. I grew up in Glide, and Douglas County has always been home to me, and I fight as hard as I do for the things we're doing because of that. So
thank you. A couple quick closing thoughts. Alan Crocker, you're on there watching us. I love your brother. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. Went to school together. He's in Hawaii. Trent, I don't know if you guys are on the same island or not right now, but Alan, just so you know, Trent's over there in Hawaii. I didn't get a chance to get to every question, but there was also a question about the violence that's going on in Portland. Stay tuned for that. We'll probably talk about that next week. We're going to have Representative Ed Deal on here as well next week, so we'll have some more time with that. But thank you so much for joining us. You guys, our audience and the folks that listen to us, you're the ones that make this successful. This is your show. We're just telling you the truth and telling you how things really work, and we really appreciate each and every one of you. Again, one last time, Twin Peaks Off-Road, my company, is a sponsor of this. Also, Diamond Lake Mini Storage, they're one of our major sponsors of this thing. We appreciate what they do, and I don't ever want to forget Little Mill Media, the guys behind the scenes. They do an amazing job. They make us look good, even though I'm not that good looking to look at, but it's kind of cool. They do a good job. And last, thank you guys again for all joining us. We got to cut off now, and I wish we had another hour to talk because I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about tonight. But thank you guys, and have a good evening.